Just wait a second until we get all in. So we're here. All right, we are live streaming. So thank you everyone for coming today. I want to introduce you to Leanne. Say hello.
Hello.
Leanne is a member of the Balanced Bodies program. She's been in the program for almost 9 months. We're rounding down on the last couple of weeks here. And she has had some amazing success. I can't rave enough about her because she literally followed everything I told her to do. And the reason she had such success is because she followed exactly what protocol she needed to for the hormone imbalances that she was dealing with. So I want to know what you were feeling before. So take yourself back 9 months when we started our conversation. What was it that you were feeling before we started working together?
Yeah. Well, I was feeling always not well, stomach upset, bloatedness. Anytime I ate something, I just felt gross and I didn't want to go out anywhere because I wanted to have like a bathroom close by or whatever it might be. But I didn't know why my stomach was always hurting after everything I ate. And it just made me uncomfortable. I thought, oh, I should go to the doctor, but kept putting it off. And then I really, just was upset with how I was looking. I felt bloated, and so I looked bloated in my opinion, and so I just was upset with how I looked. Didn't really care about taking myself into consideration, so I always put myself off. And then I was tired, I was sluggish, scattered, and I just wasn't happy. I knew something had to happen. I just didn't know what to do, but something had to happen.
Yeah. So what was one thing that made you go, okay, I've got to work with Carrie?
Yeah, well, for sure, like I said, something I knew had to happen, and I just didn't know where to start. So, you can go through different resources and different diets, and you can look at different things. You can see what's out there, but where do you start? Which one is best? You can't mix and match it. That's not going to help anyways. And so it's like, didn't know where to go, but you also had to be in the right mindset. And I don't think I was in the right mindset. I knew I had to do something, but I wasn't ready for it because I was used to my routines. I was used to what, I was doing. And so again, put myself like care off. But I've known Carrie for many, many years and follow her on Facebook. And so I did watch the stories of other people's success, and it kind of got me inspired to at least ask. So at least reach out. What was the harm in just having a conversation? And that led to me finally being in the mindset to just have the conversation. It was after summer, it was the end of summer. So I was like, okay, I finished my summer routine. I'm going to start fresh in the fall. And I was a little embarrassed for sure to reach out because it was awkward, and didn't really know what I was wanting to do or go. But after I saw the success stories and then listening to how the program was structured, I felt it was right for me.
I love that you said you were embarrassed, because I think you're not alone in that. I think that we as women especially think we should know how to do this, right? And it's sometimes like you and I know each other. So it's like, well, what's she going to think of me if I say I can't do this? And now though, having been through the program, was it as do you think you should have done it earlier, or you're like, why was I thinking that? Like,
yeah,
what was going now?
Yeah, for sure. In hindsight, yeah, but I would have loved to have, got into this routine and this way of living, this lifestyle change way sooner in life. But honestly, though, like I had some other personal struggles and family struggles to deal with that, and healthcare issues with the family that I don't think I was not able to do it, and I wasn't in the mindset to do it. So I think it depends on where you are at.
Yes.
And you have to have that mindset. You need to then be ready to turn the attention on yourself in order to do it. If you do it before, you're just doing it, like you're not really putting the effort into it. So yeah. I think, yes, I wish I did it sooner, but at the same time, I don't think I could have done it any sooner.
Yeah. No, you're right there. You have to be in the right mindset. And if you are dealing with other things that are out of your control, yeah. Now there's a fine line, right? Because we work through a lot of things together from a mindset perspective in during our time together. So it's almost like, I always say to people, if you, some people come to me and say, oh, but I'm so busy right now, I don't have time, or this isn't a great time for me. There's never going to be a great time, right? But you do have to be in that right mindset that, okay, I'm going to be making a lifestyle change. And I think you're right. You were there, like you were ready, and you were apprehensive at first, but you dove right in and took to it. I remember one of our first conversations was like, but we go to the cottage and this is what we eat, and how am I going to change that? And when we go to family events, it's going to be really hard to change how they eat. And I'd like you to talk a little bit about that, because you have had some very supportive family members, and I think those fears went away after just a short period of time.
Yeah, oh, for sure. That was like one of the main fears going into it, and understanding what I was getting myself into, was around how I already have a busy, hectic work life, personal life, very hectic schedule. And it was, how am I going to make this work? How am I going to do all the
Mm.
food prep, or increase my amount of exercises? I was already doing exercises, but how am I going to add, different routines into what I was already doing? How is it going to eat when I'm out and about, and things. So those were struggles, real struggles. And honestly, it was just being honest and open to people around me, explaining, I needed to change the way, I'm eating, the way I'm living. I just needed a change. And sure, you go to an event at first, and you feel guilted into, there's these treats that your parents may have given or made in the past, and you do want to indulge in it, or you don't want to let them down. But over time, like, for sure, it takes time. This is not an easy process, for sure.
Mhm.
But it does take time to kind of get into the mindset, but then also being consistent with the others around you, then they start to realize, okay, well, this is real. And this is what we, can all work towards together.
Mhm.
And my family, my mom started to, change, like, cook the way, like, she would put out, make an effort, a very strong effort, to make sure that there was some options for me at the table. Or my husband got into cooking with me, and so he got into eating the different new recipes that we came up with. And my kids actually like it. So it really was nice to kind of see the family involved with it, because then it made it easier. I wasn't have to do all these different, like, foods and whatnot, but
Mhm.
they embraced it. And yeah, I think it just takes time, and you just need to be patient and just keep being consistent at explaining kind of the why behind it.
Yeah.
And sometimes it clicks and sometimes it doesn't for others, but I was lucky with my family, for sure. I mean, we
And I
had even
remember,
people say, you can't sustain this. You can't sustain this. And I was like, well, no, you can. You just have to put the work into it. So it's not going to be sustainable if you just give up. But if you make it into your regular lifestyle, then, like, I don't even know what I ate before anymore, to be
mhm.
honest with you. I don't know how we ate. If we had guests over, and have guests over, I kind of like, what do I serve them? Because maybe they don't like the food that I'm making. So then I kind of go back to think, what did I used to serve? And so you kind of forget about old habits.
Yeah. Well, you've adopted the lifestyle, and that's exactly what you need to do. This isn't a short term, this isn't a diet. This isn't something that you do for 90 days or for 6 months. This is a lifestyle. And I remember someone came up to you and said, how are you going to sustain this diet? And you fought back with them and said, this is not a diet, this is a lifestyle. And you were already using that language because of what you've learned in the program, right?
That's right.
Now,
Yeah.
you also had, I want to ask some of your non-scale victories. And one of them that sticks out to me that I thought you could touch on was your experience in the grocery store.
Oh yeah.
Remember
Yeah, that was
that?
a good call out. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just kind of, yeah, I didn't even think of what I was buying anymore. So I just really, spent a lot of time in the produce section, which was never me in the past. I didn't even know, like, vegetable. I didn't eat vegetables. Like, I was not a strong vegetable eater. I kept, stick with the carrots and celery, like, really basic. And I didn't even know what some of the vegetables are. And I've learned all these new vegetables that are so good, and I've never even knew they existed. And so I do spend a lot of time in the produce section, and I was in a hurry because I had to get somewhere, but I was just grabbing everything because I knew exactly what I needed. I planned out my meals, and this one lady randomly came up to me and just asked me, I forget what was the ask, or what do people do to sweeten things these days? Like what is the protocol out there for sweetening things? Do you use sugar? Do you use um, uh, honey? Like what is it? And but it was, I don't know this person, and so she just had commented that I'm looking at your cart and all the good foods that you're putting in your cart. So I trust that you do clean eating, and that you are, following your own health and staying up to speed on being healthy. So I just thought I'd ask you your opinion on what sweeteners to use in like coffees or foods or oatmeals.
Yeah.
And so actually kind of a, I don't know, like I don't know, it's an accomplishment to be asked.
Yeah, major confidence boost too, because
Yeah,
she didn't know you. She was just looking at your cart and
yeah,
based that on, oh, she knows what she's talking about.
yeah,
And you were able to be the educator and let them know, oh yeah, this is what I know, right?
yeah.
So
It was
what
cool.
are some other non-scale victories that you had? I know one of your goals was to fit into something. Um, so maybe just talk a little bit about the non-scale victories that you had.
Yeah. So, well, body confidence for sure. The changes in the body. So, yeah, clothes weren't fitting as great, and I felt like just bloated and tight fitting clothes, and I didn't like how I looked anymore in my clothes. And so now just have more confidence in the clothes I wear, wearing bikinis, being able
Mhm.
to, feel more confident wearing. We went on a couple trips over the course of the program, and I had way more confidence putting on a two-piece. So that was great. And I just feel lighter, like I just
Mhm.
feel overall lighter. So I'm not kind of, I don't know, funny to say, but like I don't feel jiggly anymore. Like when I
Yeah.
walk, I feel like a little bit more loose, lighter. My ring fits. I always struggled with my rings feeling really tight on me, and
Mm.
so now they're actually loose. That I'm worried that they're going to fall off, but everything just seems more toned up. I incorporated weights into my workout routines, and when I started to see definitions in my arms and my back, it really was aha moments for me that I was like, oh, this is great. Like because I can actually see the toning happening, and that added so much more confidence, and just the way my body felt. I just feel happier and more about myself in general.
Mhm.
Don't feel embarrassed anywhere going out, and yeah, like the clothes fit. But other non-negotiables, like obviously food, like just being more aware of the foods that do impact me. One of my main reasons for joining wasn't really about weight loss. It was really about my gut health. And I really wanted to make sure that, I wasn't having those gurgly stomach and issues every time I ate, but I didn't know what was causing it. And sure, I was like, oh, it could be allergies. Maybe I need to go get allergy tests. Like, it was all these thoughts. But going through this and understanding what foods trigger how I feel, what is inflammatory foods, what are non-inflammatory. So just really going through and understanding the impacts of the foods, and eliminating the ones that don't agree with me. Within the first 2 weeks of the program, I automatically started to feel better. I didn't have the stomach aches after eating, and it just only got better. Like now I really don't have any stomach aches anymore. I can go out more confidently in public, even
Mhm.
going to restaurants, knowing, what you can order that you still know you can be fine with, and not being afraid to ask servers for, ingredients, like what's in it, or, asking for alternatives.
Mhm.
And they're awesome. Like there's
Yeah.
been so many servers that really do accommodate or are in the same journey. And so they do explain, like, well, when I ordered, this is what I would get. So it's actually quite, more people do talk about it or know about it or
Mhm.
follow it. But, don't be afraid to ask is what I guess I'm getting to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And along with the gut health, it wasn't streamlined. It wasn't like you came in, it was like, boom, 2 weeks later, your stomach was fine. We did have some ups and downs along the way. And it was a matter of finding out because your your stomach is different than someone else's, and what your body can tolerate is different. So even foods like, I think blueberries were an issue for you, and finding that out and saying, well, I'm eating, like, I don't understand. I didn't have chips or I didn't have chocolate. Like, why is my stomach still gurgly? And it's like, we got to find out those food triggers that are unique to you. And that's part of the issue, right? And I know you and I parallel a lot. So that was easy because I could say, well, blueberries don't sit well with me, so maybe try to eliminate those, and finding that stuff out. But it's really a discovery along the way. Just because it's deemed a healthy food doesn't mean that it's going to sit well with me. So now you know, and you know, okay, well, these foods don't sit with me, so I'm just going to avoid them or have them very few times, right?
Yeah, I think what's key there too is that what was fine for me a while ago, it actually does change throughout time and months as things go on. Because if I would have one thing and I never had issues, and all of a sudden I'm starting to get issues, being able to track your food, like it may take an extra step of time to do, but being able to really track and log your food, and then being able to go back in the history and kind of seeing those trends do help, because then you can say, oh, well, the only thing I've been eating is this. And then you can kind of see that, oh, maybe it doesn't work for me. Maybe 3 months ago it was fine, but for whatever reason, my digestive system has changed and now it doesn't work. And so I think it's important to just really know what you're putting in your body, to really
knowing
and
those
track it.
foods. Yeah. So I know this road isn't full of roses. I mean, you honestly went through it, and on the outside, someone could say, oh my gosh, she had like the perfect track record, right? But there was challenges along the way. So what was one major challenge that you found, whether it was in part of the protocols that we did or the types of foods or the amount of food, like try and remember back, what was one of the challenges that you had along the way?
Oh, geez, that's a hard one actually, because I mean, you have to actively work at it. You can't just apply one concept and then, oh, I've conquered it, and then move to the next, and then, oh, check it off, and then move to the next. Like, you have to. It's a building block, so you have to keep actively applying it, and until you build those habits. So I would say that, I was very diligent at following it. So I think that helped with getting into that lifestyle routine. But the challenges really were just the outside forces. So it's like, if it is going to events that staying out late at certain parties or whatnot, my body is tired now by 9:30. Like, I don't, it's hard for me to push myself to stay out late, and when I do, I don't feel great the next day. And so it's recognizing, or if you have too much to drink because your body is adjusting, it is difficult to it just throws you off. But the trick is not to let it continuously happen. Like, the one-off and doing it in moderations, I've learned, is okay. It's just that you can't let that make you fall off your focus and your game, and just get back on track. So yeah, you have a bad day and then you just get back into routine. And then guilt, like, I think I still feel guilted but into, if someone is offering me a certain food or drink or something, and they keep pushing it, I do feel kind of guilted to turn it down. So it's, again, recognizing your limitations and no. But otherwise, when traveling and the work commitments could interfere with certain schedules of the day. So if you're like, I do tend to be on a lot of work meetings throughout the day, and so having eating certain scheduled times does, it's not easy, but you have to plan for it. So it's having food available for you, or snacks available, making sure you have lots of water close by is probably, you just have to plan for it. If you don't plan for it, that is going to be the challenge.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So one last question is, for someone that might be sitting on the fence, what would you suggest to them? Because you've been there, you were on the fence, you weren't sure, you were, you had some kind of embarrassments and things like that. So what would you say to somebody that's sort of sitting on the fence?
Yeah. Well, I would say, what's more important, like, you have to evaluate what's important to you, and if you and put self-care first. So you just have to be thinking about yourself, like, what do you need from, what do you need, like, what is it
Mhm.
you that you don't worry about what other people around are saying or doing, is what do you need, and why are you happy, why are you not happy. And if you start putting the list together of, the pros and cons, or the really the whys of, why I'm not happy, you're going to start to see probably a lot of lists that and reasons that will formulate, like, it just could be, I don't like how I look, I don't like how I feel, I feel tired, I feel like, you're going to start to see it, and then
Yeah.
you're going to realize you've put your own self-care behind others or other things. And I think that you just have to take the plunge and have a call with Carrie. And all it is really just a phone call. Like, I wasn't for sure knowing what I was getting into. And I never committed to anything at first, because I just needed information. And I
Mhm.
think it's just being open to a conversation, open to hearing what's out there. I think the stories that you post, Carrie, like, they're real stories. The success, like the pictures of the individuals, those are real. I'm in those pictures, they're real.
Mhm. Mhm.
And if you really I don't know, I guess I'm just saying, if you really just, care about, it's time for putting you first, then just just have a conversation, and then just
Yeah.
see where it goes. Like,
Yeah.
and
It's
you can be ready whenever, but at least just know what's available for you in
yeah.
the future.
Yeah, for sure. And just knowing that you've come out on the other side and went, why didn't I do this sooner? Because
Mm.
now you just feel so good, and you're going to go into a summer where last summer you were apprehensive. How am I going to do this? Cottage is this, like, this is the way I do the cottage. And now you're going into cottage season feeling more comfortable with yourself, more confident, more, I can do this. Like, it's just the way I'm living. And we don't have to have chips and pop every Friday night when we get there. Or, like, I know back in my day, we used to go up and it would be nachos and that gross, disgusting cheese dip. And it was really hard to get out of that pattern. But once you're out of it and you feel good, you just don't want that stuff anymore, because it becomes like, I know how I used to feel. I don't want to feel like that anymore.
Mhm.
So really just taking that plunge and doing it for you, like you said, because first and foremost, if you're not feeling the best, no one else is going to be doing any better in your household, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, everything and I'll talk about cost, like, things cost
Mm.
to do things. But if you're going to spend the money on all those chips and all those alcoholic beverages and the drinks, like, it's like, why not invest it in yourself in a
Yeah.
different way? And so I think it's just, again, looking at what's important for you and making you happy. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you so much for coming on here today. I know it was you were a little bit apprehensive, but I know everyone loved to hear your story. So thank you so much for that. And awesome job. You've done amazing, and you were great to work with. So thank you so much.
Cool. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.